So it was exciting. All this heavy wind kind of knocked our power out right at 3 o'clock. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this. I don't know if this is the original Facebook Live, but I will make sure to share it so that others can see it. Um, so I was asked last week to when I put out the general question, sort of like viewer's choice. What do you want to have something about? The first person responded with Portugal, which is the one I did last Saturday, and then the next person came in and said they would like to hear something about um, all inclusives or trips for older people. And so, looking at that one, there's some things I want to go over, and then show some of the adults only options, which are probably going to be pretty good for uh, the older crowds. So, some of the good things about empty nester travel is that your calendar really opens up for uh, what you want to do. We know that when you're traveling with kids, teenagers, you're really hamstrung by the school calendar on when you're able to take extended trips. They're a lot better than when I was a kid, in that you had basically 3 week long trips, or rather 3 week long holidays throughout the year, and now they seem to have added another two throughout, so it gives you more time to do things. So that's one positive and advantage to being an empty nester and wanting to travel. And then um, the other advantage is it allows you access to adults only itineraries. These uh, could be trips that are only for adults. If you're wanting to do a cruise or a river cruise and it's a wine tasting, there's not going to be a lot for the younger crowd to do. So you're probably not going to end up with a lot of families on that type of trip. And then also you have adults only resorts, hotels, and cruise lines themselves. So if you're traveling with anyone under 18, you're not going to be able to get into those areas. So it now opens that up for you as well. Um, some points to look at before we dive too deep into this. If you're looking for something all inclusive, you're going to need a passport. There's no such thing as an all inclusive in the US. There might be an all inclusive package, but understand that the all inclusive package comes with a high price point. Because you're now basically asking a non all inclusive hotel or resort to have an insurance policy on how much food you're going to eat and drink, and then your hotel no longer is. So if you look at a hotel room that is not an all inclusive property, the price that you're quoted is typically going to be for the room itself, and then that includes as many guests as it is allowed to sleep. However, when you start looking at all inclusives, you're no longer looking at the cost as the cost per room. It is now more or less a cost per guest, and that dictates the price more so than the actual room that you're staying in. So you're not going to have that in the U.S. And another point is your all inclusives, whether it's a cruise ship or a resort, it's not always going to be your best value. Uh, for you to get the most out of your all inclusive, you are going to really only want to eat or drink in the resort. Uh, you go out in town, that's not covered by your all inclusive. So you're going to be paying for those things. So if you're looking for a true all inclusive to cover all of your expenses while you're gone, as far as food and beverage goes, then you do an all inclusive and you stay on the resort and you do not leave. The other thing is if you're paying for a drink package so that you have the all inclusive experience on a ship. Um, in some cases, you're really consuming a lot of alcohol to cover the cost of the drink package. Where in a lot of cases, honestly, you might be better off buying your drinks a la carte because your drink package is a per person cost for everyone that's over 21 within your stateroom, and you have to pay for it every day. So let's say that you are paying for your drink package. You pull into a port at 7:30 in the morning, and the all aboard isn't until like 6 or 7. Well, you've now paid upwards to $120, $130 per person that day for drinks. And really, the only drinks you're going to be able to have are dinner and afterwards. So you have paid a lot for a limited amount of alcohol that you're going to be able to consume. So I, if you want to have a drink package, that's your choice. It does give you that all inclusive feel, but it is not always going to be the value that you think it is when you look at how much alcohol you're probably going to consume. So we look at that, and then you start thinking, okay, do I want all inclusive or do I not? You have to look at where the all inclusives are. You want to look at where, because we're looking at this as a vacation for those that are, say, 50 or older or empty nesters. You want to go to where there are adults only properties. Those are much more spread across the world. There are adults only hotels in Hawaii, there's some in Florida. So it's not as if you have to leave the US to have an experience where it is adults only. And keeping in mind that if you're looking for a place to relax and you think that it's not going to be loud and boisterous because there's no kids, I've heard a lot of adults who party a lot louder and make a whole lot more ruckus than kids do. So if that's what you're going for, you're not guaranteed to get that by doing an adults only experience. But there are some places where younger adults are going to want to go, and then older adults might not want to go. Uh, that's when you start dipping into the luxury space. Younger people typically aren't going to have the uh, normally is what I'm saying aren't going to have the ability to stay at a 5-star luxury property for a week because they just don't have the funds for it. And they're not going to, and the ones that do typically have a lifestyle that is not going to um, resolve them to just being loud and boisterous for an entire week. So you kind of, if you're looking for something that is much more reserved, you're going to be looking at your more luxury properties. If you're looking for an all inclusive adults only property that is a party vibe, I can absolutely find those for you as well. So we started looking at this, and like I said, there are adults only in the United States, but when you look at the Caribbean, Mexico, Costa Rica, there are definitely properties in those areas that are adults only. And there are also some that are family friendly properties, but they have adults exclusive areas. And even if you're looking at a not at an all-inclusive property, or not rather, sorry, let me step back. If you're looking at a non-all-inclusive property, it's luxury. Even those have some adults-only areas where there will be no kids allowed. So if you're truly going for the I want to relax experience, want to enjoy the scenery, the environment, you can I can definitely find those for you. One of the ones that comes to mind, Nizik has an adults only rooms. You have some other very nice all inclusives throughout that are um, a mix of family friendly and adults on the same location. And then you also have adults only all inclusive at the Isla Mujeres, which if you're going to look for, say, a luxury all inclusive that's adults only, that would probably be the place that I would send you. Uh, Caribbean, you start looking at the Antilles, the Dominican Republic. There are obviously adults only properties there. Um, they have some that uh, they have a beautiful setting. You're not looking at a place where there's going to be a lot of kids activities. It's much more the setting for adults. Um, a secluded beach type things, some where you can go right outside of your room into the water. Uh, so those are options in various islands. Different islands have different price points. If you're looking for budget, there are islands that have adults only budgets, and then there are some that you can spend upwards of 27, $30,000 a week at some of these really nice properties. When you start looking at um, like Antigua, Anguilla, and in Barbados, they have some very nice properties with, and St. Lucia also is another one with some really nice price points if you're looking for the ultimate luxury experience. Um, there's my dog. So the and another place in the area is Costa Rica. There are some resorts. Nayara is one. They have three properties in the La Fortuna area, and one of those is an adults only property. Uh, and it's then they have two others that are family friendly. So this is an option that you can look at if you want to have the tropical rainforest feel, but also have the adults only experience. Other resorts, Maldives. When you look at the Maldives, you're going to have a lot of these that are going to be all inclusive just by the nature of they basically have to provide you with your food and drink because there's no other place for you to go. You are on a secluded island, so you're going to get all inclusive that way. But then you're going to have some properties that are um, adults only. So as you look, if you want adults only, I can search for those, but keep in mind that a lot of those are already going to have figured in the all inclusive element to that. Southeast Asia is another one. They have a lot of adults only properties. Um, they're much more exotic in some cases. If you start looking at Thailand and Bali, you can get some really nice all adults only places with some really good price points just because that area of the world is cheaper than what we are used to in Central America and even in Europe. And like I said, you have hotels in Hawaii that are all inclusive, or not, rather, step back, not all inclusive, they're adults only. And the one that comes to mind with Florida is the Little Palm Island. It is a secluded, adults only getaway. It is everybody has their own little bungalow, and you are basically on the beach. No kids. However, as I said before, it is in the United States, so it's not going to be an all inclusive experience. The next thing is you have ocean cruises. Now, in your ocean cruises, uh, you get an all inclusive experience. For the most part, there are some restaurants that you're going to pay for, some shows that you might have to pay for, and then whether your drink package is included or not. Now, whether it's adults only or not depends on the cruise line, and some will have adults only areas. Uh, as far as adults only cruises, the ones that immediately come to mind are Virgin and Viking. Virgin is more of your reserved, it's not as big a party experience, or rather, I take that back, that's Viking. Viking is going to have the bigger ships. You're going to go to places such as Norway, you can in Iceland. And Viking is they're going to go out of Miami, uh, Puerto Rico, and then they have some transatlantic spots where you will go from Miami to Barcelona and Morocco, and these are adults only cruises. And Virgin is about as all inclusive as it gets. They do not have drink packages because what you have is a bar tab. So you will have money set on a tab for you, and then as you drink, they fall off of your bar tab. So you don't feel like you have to drink $150 worth of alcohol in a day. If you just want to have a couple of drinks, then those two drinks come out of your bar tab and you're good to go. Uh, as I said, there are some cruise lines that are not adults only, but they have adults only areas. Carnival, they have their Serenity area. That is, you have to be 21 or over to enter that. It is not a place that has rooms. Some of the cruise lines that have adults only areas, they will have rooms that you can book in the adults only area. But for the Carnival Serenity area, you're going to have to just enter. You have adults only pools, bars, and lounging areas. Royal Caribbean and Celebrity both have a solarium. Um, Once again, it's an adults only area that you can visit, but they are not adults only cruises. The itineraries might drive a more adults only experience, so keep that in mind. But so there will be kids, but there might not be as many. And then Princess, they actually have their sanctuary, which you can book rooms in the sanctuary, and it'll basically you are in an area where there will never be any kids on the entire ship. But that's not to say if you want to go to this restaurant or you want to go to a show in this area, that there will be kids there. So it's not as if they are not on the ship. It is just that your room and your amenities are in an area where children are not allowed. And then when you start looking at um, more of your luxury cruise lines, you've got um, Regent, Seven Sea, Oceania. They are going to have um, probably fewer kids on those because it is a more luxury experience. You are going to have higher price points and you have a higher touch point with the service on board the ship. A lot of those, they're going to have butlers who are there for you the entire time. And some of those will have rooms where you have a 24-hour dedicated butler. Because on a lot of these ships, yeah, you have a butler, but they're shared between different rooms. So as you get into this realm of sailing, there will be far fewer kids on the ship. There are far fewer activities for kids, so it is going to get much more of an adults only feel. You're not going to have really a culinary experience that is geared towards children, so parents are less likely to take their kids on these types of cruises. And finally, everybody that knows me knows that river cruising is by far my favorite. Um, and it has historically been viewed as an empty nester event. Uh, your kids are gone, they're out of the house. I want to be able to do something, and people will go river cruising because you're able to take in much more of your vacation through uh, your hotel moving with you instead of you having to move from hotel to hotel. And uh, a lot of your cruise lines are going to give you that luxury experience. You're going to have that luxury price point, but it also at the same time is very high touch point in making sure that you're provided with fantastic service for what you're paying for. Uh, Everybody knows Alma Waterways is my favorite. Alma Waterways is not a adults only cruise. They are they are a family friendly. They are actually trying to move the industry more to a family experience, and as such, they are trying to add more family friendly itineraries and have even teamed up with Disney uh, to have some itineraries that are curated by Disney for the families. If you want to be guaranteed to have no children on board your river cruise, then you would look at Viking River Cruises. Um, Everybody has seen their videos or their commercials, rather. They are, I don't think you can go into a commercial break without getting a Viking commercial. So that is going to give you that is going to be adults only, no matter what. I think you have to be 16, maybe even 18 to sell on a Viking ship. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to me. If you want to bring the little ones along, then you're definitely going to need to look at another river cruise, and that's something that I can take care of for you. And I guess the one of the things, so I'll talk about the experiences that I've had on the family friendly river cruise line, is that they are not as loud. The kids are not as, at least from my experience on the two that we've been on. It goes back to what I was talking about with uh, some of the resorts that are higher end, some of the um, luxury cruise lines that are higher end. There might be children there, but um, they're not. They are there taking in the experience the same as the rest of the passengers. There and there's not a lot of activities for them to create a bunch of ruckus. You're not dealing with water parks, roller coasters, anything like that. So kids, there's really nothing to make them loud. So if you are open to a family environment, we can find those for you as well. So I hope that I've sort of given some options, let people know that there are adults only experiences, and that if you're an empty nester, there are uh, from various budgets of what you want to do for adults only versus if you want to go into a true luxury experience, then those are things that I can offer you through my agency. In a lot of these cases, when you're looking at cruises, requires a minimum deposit, and as long as you're paid off, depending on the cruise line, 90 to 120 days before sailing. If you're looking at a Viking River cruise, it is a full year before sailing that you need to be paid in full. So there are options where you are able to reserve your booking and pay on it, and so that you're not basically financing the entire thing and paying interest. Hotels, resorts, in some cases, depending on how we go about booking the trip, it's another one where you can put down a deposit, hold your room, and then you can make payments as you go, so that you are. Um, one second. Um, so that you. Let me step back and get my thoughts here. You can make your deposit and then you can make your payments as you go along. And a lot of these, you don't have to be paid off until say a week, maybe a month before you travel. So you are able to get yourself into a really nice vacation, but it all doesn't have to be paid 6 months to a year in advance. So I look forward to answering any questions for everyone. If you would like to reach out to me, feel free. You can text me at 281 536 1713. And you can also email me at raymond.giles@luxrallytravel.com, and I will be able to answer your emails. But really, the best way for us to communicate is going to be by a phone call. We text back and forth. It might take some time for one of us to respond to the other one. If we're actually on the phone talking, then I'm able to get a much better feel on what it is that you're looking for in your vacation so that we can get the issue hammered out immediately instead of just the constant back and forth. So, once again, reach out to me. I put in the video last week on things that I need to know to get your vacation planned. Uh, First and foremost, I need to know where you want to go, why you want to go there, and when. But I think the key piece in making sure that we're shopping for the right vacation is I need to know what your budget is. So, is your budget, you know, $5,000 for the trip and you're looking at 7 nights? Does it include airfare? Does it not? Or are you looking to spend a little bit more and we can find a way for you to do a deposit and pay over time? Or do you just want to get it all booked at once? There are ways that we can elevate your experience so that, I can put you into, say, you want to stay in a castle. Say you want to have the private veranda with the or private room with the butler, and you have your own private beach in the Caribbean. Those are things I can get you, and we can do it so that you can afford this level of luxury. Luxury is not out of reach for anybody, and for it to be, there are certain things for it to be true luxury, and that's what I'm here for, is to make sure that you have that luxury experience. I don't want you to have the discount experience, and because if you are an empty nester, you've worked for quite a few years to make sure that you can have these trips that you want to have. And what I don't want to see is I don't want to see people waiting until they are retired to be able to take really good trips. Because if you wait till you're retired, then you are starting to take away um, options for you to travel. Machu Picchu becomes a lot harder. Okay, walking the the Great Wall of China becomes a lot harder. How you handle certain temperatures becomes much more difficult. So we'll start looking at these things now. Do not wait until you're retired so that you can have your dream vacation. Because as I tell everyone, and as I found out last year, you're not guaranteed tomorrow. You're not guaranteed that next time. So let's get together. Let's start talking and looking at options for you to give you that dream vacation so that you can have the luxury trip that you all earned and deserve. So until next time, I will set up another one of these for next Saturday. And yeah, just everybody have a good week. Be careful with all these storms. And if you're in Texas, make sure that you got the medicine so that your sinuses don't get clogged with dust. So everyone have a good week, and I will see everyone next Saturday.